Hello students, welcome to the online video classes. In the previous two discussions, we have studied the digestive system, how complex food substances are converted into simple forms which can be absorbed by our cells. The main motive of taking food is to attain energy, and now today we will discuss how these nutrients are converted in the form of bond energy. The energy which we obtain from the nutrients finally converted into the form of bonds. Bonds in the form of ATP. ATP is the adenosine triphosphate in which energy is stored. We have studied how by reaching from mouth to the stomach how food digested in it. Now today we will discuss how respiratory gases O2 and CO2 helps us to attain the energy in the form of ATP. So, we use oxygen for this process in which oxidation of oxygen takes place, and there is also release of one harmful gas, that is CO2, which must be expelled out from our body. Oxidation of O2 is an indirect process. Here indirect means that this step occurs in the multi-step process. It does not takes place in just a single step. It takes place in many small, simpler, step-by-step process. So, we have to take O2 for this process to happen, and also have to release the harmful CO2 gas. And this process of exchange of O2 and CO2 produced by the cells is known as breathing, which are commonly known as respiration. So, you can feel your breath by placing your hand on your chest. The chest moving up or down is actually the process of breathing. So, today we will discuss it in detail. We will discuss the various respiratory organs and then the mechanism of respiration by which we transport the gases from nose to the lungs. First of all, the first respiratory organ is nose, in which there are one pair of external nostrils which are visible from outside. Then comes the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity is a chamber which is made up of mainly two parts. First part is the bony part and the second one is membranous part. This chamber then leads to the nasopharynx, which we have discussed earlier. Nasopharynx is the part of pharynx which is located near the nose. So, the air taken from our nose goes to the nasopharynx. In the nasal cavity, there are presence of fine hairs along with the mucus, cilia and the blood in the membranous part. Together, by their mutual coordination, performs the function of purification of air. So, from here you can infer that the air taken from your mouth are not that purified that is taken from your nose, as in the oral cavity there are no hairs present to purify the air. So, the air from the nose are more purified than the air from the mouth. Then we will discuss the topic pharynx. We have discussed it in detail in the digestive system. Let's revise it quickly. Pharynx is the common passage of food and air. Pharynx is composed of three parts mainly. First one is nasopharynx, in which this is the part of pharynx which is located near nose. Second one is oropharynx. It is the part of pharynx which is located near esophagus, in which mainly food is present. Third one is laryngopharynx, in which it is the part of pharynx which is located near larynx, near the windpipe. So, the air taken from the mouth first goes to nasopharynx, then oropharynx and then finally to laryngopharynx. But the air taken from mouth directly goes to the oropharynx. It does not goes upwards to the nasopharynx, it directly goes to oropharynx and then to the laryngopharynx. Then finally the air goes to larynx, which is a cartilaginous structure. But here comes an important structure which is epiglottis. We have also discussed the epiglottis in digestive system, that it is a flap-like structure which covers the opening of larynx. When we swallow our food, then this epiglottis covers our larynx so that food is prevented from going to that side, to the windpipe. It acts like a switch. As we turn on or off our switch, then our electrical equipment reacts. Like that, when epiglottis is in the horizontal position covering the larynx, then food enters in food pipe. And when it is vertical, that when it does not cover the opening of larynx, then air goes to the windpipe. At that time, we cannot swallow the food. So, we cannot swallow food along with the taking air. We can do only one function at a particular time. Then comes the larynx. Larynx is also known as sound box. So, now the question arises, why it is known as sound box? So, it is known as sound box because it helps in the production of sound. A structure that is vocal cords. One more structure is vocal cords. These vocal cords are present in the larynx region. These are membranous structures and vibration in these membranes leads to the production of sound. Larynx are made up of 9 types of cartilage. You just don't need to remember which type of cartilages are present in larynx. Just remember that there are 9 types of cartilages present in the larynx region. Then from larynx, air passes to the trachea. Trachea is a straight tube of approximately 5 inches long. It transports the air from neck region to the chest region. It is a long straight tube made up of cartilage also. The name of cartilage of trachea you must know, it is pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium, in which the word pseudo means false, stratifies means multiple layers, that is false multiple layers. It appears like multiple layers due to the different sizes of the cells. As you are seeing that one row is of that nucleus and one row is of the upper nucleus. So, it looks like multiple layers, but actually there is only one basement membrane. So, it is unilayered in actual. Then comes ciliated. Ciliated means presence of cilia, which we have also discussed in digestive system. The cilia helps in the movement of any substance in a particular direction. Then comes the word columnar. Columnar is the shape of cells. These cells are the shape of the cells are like column like, long slender cells. Then it is an epithelium. So, the type of cartilage of trachea is pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Then trachea divides into 2 parts, that is left and right bronchi, and these bronchi enters in the lungs. So, these bronchi are further divided into smaller ones, that is secondary bronchi, and these then divides into much smaller, that is tertiary bronchi, and these all are finally divided into bronchioles, which are all over distributed in your lungs. And the terminal part of these branches is alveoli. Alveoli is a thin membranous sac-like structure in which exchange of gases takes place. You can see that these structures of lungs just looks like a tree. Like that in a tree there is a one long stem, then it further divides into very thick branches, then these branches divides into the smaller ones. Like that in the lungs, trachea acts like that long thick stem, then it divides into bronchi. These are the thick branches, then primary, tertiary, secondary bronchi and bronchioles, these are smaller branches. So, the structure of lungs very much looks like a tree. Then, so finally, the air reaches from nose to the lungs part, and at that time air also comes to the temperature of your normal body temperature. At the starting, the air was not at all at your body temperature, but when it passes through the ducts and tubes, then it humidifies, purifies and comes to your normal body temperature. And the terminal part, that is the alveoli, is the exchange zone in which exchange takes place. So, it is a thin, very thin membranous sac like structures present in abundant amount. These are the structural units of lungs. But these one parts from the nose to the bronchioles, this is the conduction zone which helps in conducting the air from nose to the lungs. There are total 5 steps in respiration. We will discuss it in detail. First of all, breathing, we have discussed it already. It is the exchange of gases of O2 and CO2 from your nose. Second one is diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane, that is exchange of gases at the alveolar side in which oxygen binds to the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is red color pigment present in blood. Oxygen combines to hemoglobin. It just only combines to hemoglobin, does not react with hemoglobin, and this step is known as oxygenation of hemoglobin. Each molecule of hemoglobin can bind maximum 4 molecules of O2. Then the third step is transport of gases via blood, as in dissolved form in the plasma or binded to the hemoglobin. 2 types of binding. Fourth one is diffusion of gases between blood and tissues, in which O2 is released in the tissues and CO2 will bind with the hemoglobin and will form carbaminohemoglobin. Then the last step is utilization of O2 by cells. At that time, oxidation of oxygen takes place and subsequent release of the harmful gas CO2.